Event today is organized by Marguli.org. It's a platform which integrates a lot of information, updates, and events related to the performing arts scene in India. Marguli.org is a sponsored initiative of Sarangi, this store. This event is called Meet the Artist. It's an event activity wherein we invite accomplished artists to have a conversation and interaction with their fans and followers. So in today's edition of Meet the Artist, we have with us Srimati Jigyasa Giri in conversation with Arabi Veera Raghavan. Arabi is a trained contemporary as well as a classical dancer. She is a student of the Narasimhacharis, and many of us also know her as a blogger. Mrs. Jigyasa Giri is an accomplished dancer and dance teacher and the founder of Devaniya, which is the founder school of the Dakshina Gharana of Kathak in Chennai. My sister also happens to be a student of Devaniya, and our families have known each other for a while, so it's been really fulfilling to see Devaniya grow over the years. Very interestingly, this year both Sarangi and Devaniya are celebrating 10 years of being.
When you get to meet the artist is to get a little insight into their process, the way they work, and them as people. So not information that we can find, in their bio or even watching their performance. So I thought it would be nice to begin with the basics. Where did it all begin? What has the journey been like? And any little anecdotes that you can share with us along the way would be very, very appreciated.
First of all, a very good morning to everyone, and my heartfelt, complete, absolute thanks to everything and everybody that makes me where and what I am today. And that would include, of course, my parents, and beyond my parents, teachers, students, everybody that I have crossed my path. So, thank you, universe. Where does it all begin? It's very difficult to say because is it the beginning of my life? Is it the beginning of my birth as a human being? Is it the beginning of my role as a mother, as a dancer, as a teacher? Okay, we'll start with the beginning as a dancer. As a child of 7, I was literally forced by my mother to learn Bharatanatyam in Chennai. And I used to cry, make all the excuses I could not to have class. I used to cry a lot. And she used to be such a very, very distinguished and busy doctor. And in the middle of her practice, she would come up and even give me a slap. And I thank her a lot for those slaps that I received. So my mom. You walked into the word slap. Obviously, slapping you. So anyway, that's what she did, and she would sit with me and she would explain. And my Bharatanatyam guru, Sri V. Krishnakumar, was extremely gentle and patient with me as a child. I was a terrible dancer. I know I'm starting on a negative note, so to speak, but it's the truth. And I didn't want to dance. That was the starting point. And that is why I tell parents of my students today that if you are passionate enough about what you want for your child, sometimes the child doesn't know what they want or what they need. So if you are passionate enough and you're confident enough that this is what your child needs, then you need to push yourself to push that child. Because parents also sometimes in today's busy days forget and then, okay, she's tired today, she's busy today. And it just life goes on. And in today's urban world, of course, it is more difficult than it was when I was growing up. But coming back to the beginning, this is the beginning of my dance journey. But what happened at the age of 12, I had my Arangetram. 12 or 13, I had my Arangetram. So what happens at that age is that the lights, the glitter, the camera kind of takes you by surprise, and it takes you, it makes you have a few feathers. So that is what actually made me decide, okay, I can dance. But actually I was really bad. And I needed a good beating to learn that, this is a passion, this is something that you have to understand, study, and be dedicated to, and not just take it on a surface level. That came to me much later, after I had a huge break with dance. At the age of 16, I started Kathak in Chennai. From my guru again, whose name was Krishna Kumar. His name was Natikala Guru Krishna Kumar Dharwad. And he was of the Banaras Gharana. I told my mother at the age of 15, 16 that I will do Kathak because I thought she'll never find anyone to teach me Kathak here. So I'll do Kathak. So she was one up on me, obviously. She was my mom. So then she said, I'll find you a Kathak teacher. And she did. So he used to come home and not 1 hour, 2 hours. I was like, oh Lord. But I developed the interest in dance there. I grew up to. So that's why I tell students now, mothers who come with 4-year-olds and all, come, no, take my daughter in the class, she's very interested. I said, yes, but let her scribble with her feet. Let her not get into the discipline mode now, because if we really want as parents to take our children to something that is our traditional route, then I think we should give them the space and time for an age where they will actually understand instruction. So let's not rush through it. So at my dance school, Devanya, actually, our students are starting age is 8, but ending age is no end. We have a 72-year-old, we have a 69-year-old, and we have me, 55-year-old, and we all dance very happily at our own pace. And that is that's generally the beginning and the end of the journey. End in the sense the present of the journey, and we don't know. I don't know if I've answered your question. I do tend to ramble, but
No, you have. And I was particularly, the parts where you spoke about the way you approach learning as a guru and how the way you learnt impacted that. The whole thing about how there's no point rushing children into picking up a skill, especially in a city like Madras, which is very competitive when it comes to classical arts, where children are sort of made to go to class at the age of 3 or 4, 6 now, no longer 3 or 4. But I started at 3, and then by the time you're 8 or 9, you do your Arangetram, and then you're like more child-led, and it definitely starts where your journey began as well, right? And that's the way you approach work, and it reflects in the way you make work today as well. So more than answered the question.
yeah, more than.
No, in the best way possible. And the other day when we were chatting, you were talking about your training with Guru Maya Rao. So a little bit about her, because she's such an icon.
Absolutely. My tryst with Guru Maya Rao, I have to give thanks to my friend Pratibha here, because she actually forced me to go and learn from her. There was a point in my own learning process and the teaching, when I started teaching, that I realized that I'm not adept enough. And I'm very happy to say that even today, I don't think that any human being really can say, I'm perfect and I know everything. That's ridiculous. I mean, you'd be bored of yourself. So it's nice to be humble, it's nice to be honest with yourself and then with the rest of the world. And I think people accept you as you are, then better. So that was a stage in my life where I felt I'm teaching, but I'm not doing the right thing. I'm not doing enough. I'm not being an honest teacher. If I don't know, how will I teach? I had developed a methodology of teaching. I had started doing that, but somewhere within me there was an incompleteness, which I needed to complete, because there was this huge void of years of my learning, where I took my life and my life took me on a different route. So I had to wander back into dance when I found it the right time. And at that time, Pratibha told me, why don't you go and learn? And I was like, really? And what if Maya Didi turns around and tells me, you're not good enough? She said, it's okay, come back. And that helped me. So thank you, Pratibha. And that's where I met this Srivatsa also. And we were writing our cookbooks at that time. And Maya Didi just, oh God, it was love at first sight. She loved me, and it was a great blessing, because I used to go every month from here, stay 4 days, not with her, but I was spending the whole day with her, learning from her directly. And that was a boon beyond a boon. And I picked up nuances of the Lucknow Gharana from her. And I told her that I'm teaching in Chennai, and would you be able to help me, direct me as to how to take the teaching process further. And a lot of her tips, her anecdotes, through her own learning experience of teaching, and through her life as a teacher and a choreographer, which she shared very freely, very lovingly, always, not just with me but with anybody who went to her door, really. She was one of a kind. And she's not even missed solely because she's so much inside, she's just so much inside. There's many times when I'm at a crossroad even now, that I will think back and say, what would my Didi have told me now? Or what would my Guru Krishna Kumarji have told me now? He was also really a wonderful Guru. And I have been blessed with very good teachers in my life. So Maya Didi, yes, that was a very, very beautiful tryst of about 4 years. Every month I would go there, visit her, learn from her. And she would tell me to perform at Tatya, which I thought was a great blessing, but I didn't get the opportunity to do that because I had a lot of responsibilities here, my kids were growing up, and my dance school was growing, so I didn't, and I'm not a performance-oriented human being as such. I'm more a learning, teaching person. So
It gives a different kind of fulfillment and
Absolutely.
contribution to the society.
absolutely, ma'am, absolutely.
So yeah, that was really beautiful to hear, and the fact that you did that with a home and the home to run, children to raise, and the dance school here, it's just really incredible. I think it's something that we all had to hear. Thank you for that. So another question that actually this was the first question that I think came to my mind when we met the other day as well. And that is, Madras is traditionally such a Bharatanatyam bastion. How is it that, and today if somebody says Kathak, the first name that comes to anybody's mind is yours. How did that process happen? It's probably, you have probably made it easier for all your students and subsequently whoever else follows to carve a space for themselves in the city. But for you initially, how hard or easy was it, and how is it now?
I'm blessed with one thing, which is that I don't find anything very hard. I don't look at the hardship of it. That's a blessing because then one looks at the challenge of it and the excitement that hardship brings along with it. And it's always been exciting in that sense. I started off as a come back to dance, as I said earlier, and I didn't have at that time my guru, he had passed on. I didn't know where my tablist was. And I had come back to Chennai after a good many years, really good many years, and I had come back in the role of a mother of 2 children. And I just felt the need to get back to my own practice and dancing. I didn't have any music with me, I didn't have my guru. Where do I begin in Chennai? That was my first question, where do I begin? And that's when I said, okay, knowing my nature and knowing the last words that my guru spoke to me, which was that, I don't know what you'll do with your Kathak, but I know that you can teach. So why don't you teach someday? He had said this to me in my own parents' nursing home as he was in his last days. And it didn't strike me then, I was too young. But later in years, it always came back to me. So what I did was, I just asked a few neighbors, asked a few friends. I asked my daughter to join the class. She was a kid and she hated it. She was just like me. Today, nobody would believe that because she teaches at the dance school and she performs too, apart from having another career, parallelly. So, but yeah, that's how I started. And for me, that teaching them was teaching myself. Okay, it gave me the motivation, the sense of responsibility when it had to go to somebody else. So it was a selfish motive, if you want to call it that.
No, but
it's the best way. Yeah. You learn a lot when you teach. If you are a responsible person from within. Okay, if you are irresponsible, you just do anything and just get away with it. It won't last long anyway. So if you're honest with yourself and if you are your intention is right, then you will end up doing the right thing because, well, there are other people who are looking up to you for something that they want.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. But as it grew, without my own realization, I didn't imagine what I would do. I never planned. I don't plan life. I go with its flow. Every time and in any field, in any area of my life, I go with the flow of life. So there was no plan, there was no agenda. So there was no worry. So whatever came was wow, oh great, lovely. Oh really? Oh, you danced in school today? How nice. What did you do? Oh, but you know what? This chakra doesn't look nice here. I have to learn a way of how to teach this. So I go back to my mirror and I learn myself, I teach myself. How do I teach this? Because my guru passed away and my learning was stemmed. You see, I had to use my intellect and my memories to get back to that.
To reconstruct.
To reconstruct how to teach. I knew what to do, but how do you teach it is a different ballgame. Okay, and it's a huge responsibility. That dawned on me slowly. And then from becoming the self-learning focus, it became more towards the other person. And that slowly grew and well, today Devinya is Devinya.
Yes. But Madras as a performing space, I love how in the process of talking about performing and teaching and choreographing in a city which is traditionally a Bharatanatyam space, you not once mentioned performance opportunities, and that's what most of us as upcoming choreographers and dancers, we are so worried about this whole, where do I perform, what do I perform, who's going to come and watch me, why am I not getting opportunities? And here is a senior guru who is talking about the joy in the process, and I think it's safe to presume that from what you said, that the performance opportunities that came were taken up, but they were never chased after.
Absolutely, you got that right. As I said, there was no agenda. Even today, I don't realize that whether we are getting opportunity or not getting opportunity. If the opportunity comes and we perform well, wonderful. If the opportunity doesn't come, wonderful. We will work, we'll continue learning and we'll continue teaching. And it's the best way to be. I think it's so easy, life becomes so easy because you don't have to wait and crave for anything. Whatever comes is a blessing. Whatever doesn't come, even more blessing. We don't know how do we choose. If we don't know how do we choose, our job is to just do our job. Our job is to be absolutely true to ourselves. And I totally will go with that. So coming to Chennai as the bastion of Bharatanatyam, yes it is. And if I have to say it was hard, yes, I was much younger when I started teaching. 10 years of Devinya. But of me teaching was much before that, So people would come to me saying that, oh, I heard that you're teaching Kathak. There's someone teaching Kathak here. So I'd say, yes, I'm teaching. Oh, so young a teacher? Random. Oh my goodness. So often I heard that. So often I say, okay. I think that's a compliment. Okay, I will come. that was one very funny experience. Experience that had repeated itself at least 3-4 times. One or two faces I also remember. And it was nice. And opportunities to perform, I didn't wait for any opportunities to perform because I wanted to be extremely sure that what goes on that stage in Chennai is absolutely something I know is correct.
And that you stand by it.
And I stand by it. I don't want to ever falter that was this correct, was this wrong? For me.
Yeah.
I have to be honest to me. Anybody else can have another opinion and I respect everybody's opinion. Definitely. Otherwise it would be a very boring world. Okay. So in that sense, Chennai did take its time to give us opportunities, but that's because I'm also a very quiet person. I don't go out there to look for opportunities, you see. So I don't meet people too often. I don't meet people too much. So I'm just so happy teaching. I'm just so happy teaching and developing the skill of teaching, the art of teaching. That for me, performance is always not secondary. I will not bring performance down. It's extremely important. This is a performing art. In today's urban India, where there are so many opportunities, so much awareness, so much of internet and classes and this and that, and parents wanting to put their children in every class possible, for you to be able to hold on to them and infuse that tradition, okay, that you are teaching, is an absolute art. And I think now, after so many years, Devinya has honed that skill and has been blessed with that positivity.
And I think as a person on the other side watching, it's very evident for us to see as well.
Thank you. It's nice to hear.
It's definitely, yeah. So I wanted to come back to the actual dancing and talk a bit about the Dakshin Gharana, since it's such a mammoth task that you have undertaken to establish a gharana which is your own and place it in a geographical space which is very specific and I know that you're not going to give us too much information about it, but could you talk to us about whatever you can share at this point and also about the event that is coming up? A bit about that.
Yes, sure. First of all, what is gharana? Somebody? What is gharana?
A style of performance.
A distinctive style. Okay? It's like family. Every family is a gharana in that certain sense. Because we have our style, we have our likes, we have our dislikes, we have our food habits, we have our sleep habits. It's like that. A gharana is a style. So somebody who has been developing a particular style and can pass it on to a generation or a group of students is somebody who, and if that builds on, and if those students build on it, then it starts getting known as a gharana. And this is my understanding of it completely. So when I say that Devnia deems it fit to call ourselves the founder school of the Dakshin Gharana of Kathak, it means that we have founded or we have initiated or developed a new grain of Kathak. Kathak is like an ocean, it's like a Gangotri. Okay, in the realm of Kathak or dance. And from there flows the various styles of itself, like a river, gushing river coming down, forming tributaries. Okay, and each tributary can either name itself and make itself known or can even disappear into the ocean of art. Both are very correct, both are very good, both are necessary. Everything is necessary, everything has a place in the world. So when I say Dakshin Gharana, what I mean basically is extremely intangible. It is the fact that Devnia, being the first and only school of Kathak in Chennai, developed itself to not force fit Kathak into Chennai, but fit itself into Chennai, into the body language of Chennai, okay, into the habits of Chennai, into the look of Chennai, into the discipline of Chennai. Chennai is a place where you'll see people waking up at 4 in the morning, putting their kolam, listening to Suprabhatam, doing their studies. That is the feeling of Chennai, the Malliku, the fishermen who get up in the morning. Okay, it has its own richness. UP, Rajasthan, North, the Persian influence, they have their own beautiful ways. They are the Nawabis, they are the tall ones, they are the Aryans. Okay, so they have a different lifestyle. They have mehfils till 4 a.m. They have mehfils and poetry and mushaira till 4 and 3 a.m. and then they'll sleep and then wake up at 11 a.m. Shops open at 11 a.m. in Delhi. So, lifestyle is so different. It does seep into the arts. It has to. Because art is nothing but an extension of your own lifestyle. And that is why I believe that somebody asked me, what is your opinion of art? Long back. And what do you think art is? And for me, art is only one thing. That is, a performing artist who's on stage, her or his duty is to see that the Rasika who's watching is taken back to himself or herself. Okay? And that I feel Dakshin Gharana does. Devania does that. I know how many performances we've had with God's grace where people come up and hold hand and kiss the hand just to say, Ayyo, without understanding the Hindi and the Urdu.
Yeah.
How is that? Because you are touching the heart of people. Okay? There is technique, yes. So if Kathak has a very flamboyant way of ending in poses, okay, so you do that. How do you teach that to a very beautiful community of people who are so different in the way they communicate with their eyes? the eyeballs going from side to side. How do you communicate that? Okay, so how do you communicate saying you don't have to look that way, you have to look this way. It's not in my blood to do that. So I want what Devanya has attempted to do is to fit in to this mode rather than to force it and say you have to be like this, you have to do like this. This is that. It's not so difficult to do. It is very difficult. It is extremely difficult to be casual. Then what will happen? You'll become weak. That's what Bollywood, with all my due respect and absolute love for Bollywood especially, I will say, have definitely diluted Kathak. Because it seems so light. You turn on your toes and bas, chakkar ho gaya, wow, 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 wow. It's not like that. It's not so simple. There is technique involved. How do you teach that technique of lightness to a community or to a geographical, not a community, but a geographical area where lightness is not the main feature? Discipline, focus, okay, not oral tradition, but studies. People like to be taught structure over here. So what we did was we created structure. We created structure and how to teach. The methodology of teaching became very structured at Devanya. So if I want to say dhan, 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 dha, I cannot just say so dha. No, it doesn't come. So take your hand up, break it up. Take your hand up, palm facing out, palm facing in, turn the neck and eyeballs, nose between the eyeballs but not looking at the nose, straight. Ow. If you do that, it becomes very strong and rigid, the movement. It loses its original naturalness, the flow, the fluidity which Kathak is very famous for, which is part of Kathak. So then you teach how to break those walls. You create those walls, those climbing steps, make the movement, and then you say, now break the wall in your head. Make it your own. Bring yourself out through that. So this methodology has been a slow process. So teaching in Devanya is also a very slow process. Sometimes people say, "Itne saal Kathak seekhe, itna hi seekhe." Devanya mein wo bhi suna hai. It's good, but I'm very happy to hear that also because that means yes, we are training well. We are not just running like race horses. So we are training people so well that wherever they may go, their style is very distinctive and their style is very strong. Their movements will be extremely strong.
The foundation. So I think there's in many ways structuring and making it easier for people who come after to teach without diluting the essence is something that all classical performing traditions have been sort of moving towards, and it really is the way of the future if you want to keep the form intact while pushing the boundaries constantly. And what you spoke about, the point that you raised about how your way of working with the Dakshin Gharana has been to adapt the form to the space and the bodies that inhabit that space is of particular interest to me as a contemporary practitioner, because that is where contemporary practice and choreography differs from a very, very rigid classical style. So it's beautiful to hear that it's possible to bring this inclusivity into the formal space of a classical performing art. So thank you for that. It's really great to hear.
Yes, inclusivity is the right word. It really is, because it's not about bridging a gap. There's no gap. Art is one ocean, magnificent ocean. But it is about blending in. It's like a marriage. It's like an inter-community marriage. You can't all the time after 20 years of marriage say, I am so and so, you are so and so. No, we are one. We are one. So Kathak in Chennai, founded by Devanya and blending into Chennai, with so many beautiful students coming in and out of the portals of Chennai, definitely out of Devanya, definitely then
it has
calls for it to have its own space and founding in the realm of art, in the realm of Kathak, and therefore the Dakshin Gharana also I would like to say technically, these are intangible. Tangibly, music of Kathak is really impossible to find in Chennai.
Yes.
Okay? The
Musicians also.
musicians. The ghungru of Kathak is different. The bells are tied on a string.
Guru is about to
Yes.
ask you the thing.
So I could have made it easy for myself or difficult. I don't know. As I said, there's no agenda. It just happens. I could have imported music. I could have gone to Delhi to record music or to call musicians. I could have gone to Bombay. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do it here in Chennai. I wanted Chennai to be my home. That's it, period. Home of Devaniya. Sometimes I'll say my or I just mean Devaniya. Okay? It's just-
Yeah,
it's way of
I think it's
speech.
clear.
Yeah. So,
There's a certain sustainability to working this way as well, right?
Yeah.
Because you're using locally grown talent,
yes,
local
of course,
resources.
You should. And that is where the blending comes in. You blend, you don't bridge a gap. There is no gap to bridge. We are only blending differences into one beautiful ocean. And therefore the style has changed. Our music is different. Okay, if you listen to our Shivashtakam, for instance, just as an example that came up in my mind, it's a purely Kathak performance. But our costume, our look, our music, the sound is very relatable in the South. Extremely relatable. We also work with a lot of South saints, philosophers, poets. We've done a series of Adi Shankaracharya. We've done Jagadananda Karaka, Tyagaraja Kirtana, keeping absolutely the essence of those poets and writers very much on top notch.
And the essence of Kathak.
And the essence of Kathak. So both have to be given the equal platform. And that's the most beautiful, beautiful challenge ever. Ever.
And you just answered my next question also. That was going to be my next. I was going to ask you how you managed to balance pushing boundaries while staying true to the form, and I think that very much answers that. So now I want to sort of veer a little bit away from the dance. If we have time, I'll come back to the costumes later. But I want to move away from the space to you as a writer and a poet. And how does your literary practice inform or color your choreography? I'm sure it does. Because these are parallel processes which constantly inform each other. So a little bit of insight and maybe a little poem that you can read for us.
That's sweet of you to have studied me.
I've been stalking you.
Fortunately, I don't know.
Now you know.
Now I know. It doesn't matter. I'm happy. I'm flattered. Okay. Yeah. Poetry. Poetry and writing just came all of a sudden. I'll be very honest about how poetry started. I'm a very open person, huh? So yeah, you might hear some nice candid stories too if it comes to my mind. But I have started working on a project on Mirabai. For me, Mirabai is, I just relate to Mirabai. So I had started writing the script for Mirabai. And at some point, that script got halfway left. Some other work, some other commitment, something fell sick, something, whatever. 2-3 years went away. But in those 2-3 years, the poetry from inside just flowed. It came out. I never say I write the poem. It just comes through. Okay, it just comes. When it comes, there's only one poem I feel I have thought and written, and that was for my students a few years ago as a way of motivating them to go up on stage and give their best. So that was one very nice poem I had written for them. I think it was nice. I think they were motivated. Some of them are still around. But other than that, poetry flows. And sometimes, the words come out in Hindi. I don't know Hindi. In the sense, I'm also a Chennai bred person, finally, So my Hindi is only what I learned second language in school. Although I'm a Gujarati by birth. Shame on me, but I don't know. I don't think in Hindi. But the words used to flow. Then if I like what flowed, then I'll ask somebody who knows Hindi to correct the grammar for me. Just to keep on my records. Why
You know
not?
the colloquial language, you
Yes.
have the flow.
Yeah.
Somebody can
correct the grammar, no the thrilling, pulling and all that. I don't. I was always bad at it.
As long as you can communicate, that's the truth.
And look at that. I myself am Dakshin Gharana in that sense because Kathak is the dance form of Hindi and Urdu. And here I am very happily saying I don't know Hindi. I know Hindi. I know the language of Kathak, but it's not my language of thought.
Language
Language of
of
thought
Beautiful.
is English, unfortunately or fortunately, it doesn't matter. So yes, I write poems in English, and some of them are really nice.
We'd like to hear them. Now or at the end.
At the end,
however you prefer.
let's see where this conversation goes. If I see some people yawning or something, then we might stop short.
I don't see
And
anyone
if
yawning.
no one's yawning, then based on where this conversation goes, we'll pick up one to round up.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. So, this is a question that I had for you, but it's also a question that came up in the list of questions that the audience had sent in earlier. How do, as a senior performer, choreographer, and guru, is there anything that you would like to tell? I know this is a very sort of general blanket question, but something that you would like to tell aspiring performers as well as people who come to watch a performance, because they come with a weighted expectations, right? And very often they have their own very interesting takeaways from a performance. But I do believe that Rasika, because we're in a space, an audience member or a Rasika should have a certain, or rather it would be nice if they had a certain sort of, I won't even say knowledge, but a certain mindset with which to approach a performance. So they are doing what is right by the performers as the performers do what is right by them. So a little bit about what you would tell younger aspiring practitioners of dance as well as people in the audience.
I think you use the right word, mindset, as an audience. That's applicable for all the art forms.
Yes,
It's not what you know to see. The person performing has some talent, skill, knowledge.
And a readiness
But
to
mindset is what necessary
yeah.
for all performers.
And I think a certain
I
level
wish
of
this is something
readiness.
should be passed on to the sagas also.
I won't comment on that.
I think a certain readiness to receive.
It's a very apt word. I was also wondering, how should we say that?
Nice. To young aspiring dancers and students of dance and performers, my only word of advice would be, just follow your heart, follow your intuition, and make the learning, make the love for what you're doing primary. Performance is important, but that is not the be all and end all. It is not. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, when you are a performer on stage, you're not the top of that triangle. You're not the top there. I see that often, unfortunately. I see that often when I see performers. I can just see the performer there. I can't see the art
Performance.
It's too intangible, but you can make out. What happens to the Rasika, the audiences, they might enjoy that technique, they might enjoy the performance, they might enjoy that 1 hour, but that's where it ends. They will not remember it when they go back home. No. Because they have not been transported to themselves. Yatho hasta tatho bhava, yatho bhava tatho drishti. Yatho drishti. Yatho drishti tatho bhava, yatho bhava tatho rasa. I forgot the mana part. Okay. I'm just skipping the ladder because do I speak too fast?
No.
I've been said that too much very often.
So what's
So the point is
what's at the top of the triangle?
the audience.
The experience, audience.
The audience, the experience of the audience. So that last line is what I was trying to rush to, which is the bhava and the rasa. Bhava is the expression. Rasa is the essence of that expression, the essence of that emotion. Okay. Now what sometimes happens is, by default, students imagine or teachers teach saying that you have to feel that emotion, you have to bring out that emotion, you have to become that thing on stage. No, you don't have to. Oh, please don't carry that weight at all. You have to play the role. That's it. So you may be angry at home, you may have had a fight with your husband or your kid or your whoever, but when you're on stage and you can't be being the angry lover, or you can't become angry in all your parts because you're angry somewhere else. No. Neither, if your role is demanding Shringara, you have to feel the Shringara, because next minute if you have to feel Bibitsa, how the hell are you going to move? There's a very fine line there. The bhava means expression. You have to play a role. Your job is to play the role and bring out the craft, the bhava. Craft, nice word. Nice woman of words. Beautiful words she brings out. Very nice. So nice. No?
Yeah.
That is bhava. That is the job of the dancer on stage. I'm talking for dance. I'm talking for Kathak. I'm talking for my students or anyone who wants to know
This is
my
exactly,
opinion.
this is
Okay.
exactly what my gurus told us in Bharatanatyam also. So apply it across.
Exactly. Any true teacher will say that. Rasa, the essence of it, has to come from the audience, has to go into the audience. And that's what at the beginning I said, that you have to, the purpose of art is to bring about a feeling of going to oneself to the audience. When you do that, you're the happiest person because you're with yourself. You have found something inside that you're seeing out there. You have internalized rather than externalized. And that is very, very important. You can't externalize. If you externalize, you're only on the surface. Costume nalla irka? Am I looking nice? Is the camera there? Am I showing my technique correctly? All my knowledge should be there. Everyone should know how knowledgeable I am. I'm not being sarcastic. I have also done it. Okay, in my time I have also done it.
We go through that.
But we go through that, we go past that at this point in life. That's better. Better to grow up at some point. Okay, we don't want to be grown up babies. So we grow past that. And then when you teach especially, the responsibility comes with it. And you realize that no, this is not what I want. I don't want my dancers to look like A, B, C or D. I want that oneness to I want that oneness to float through the stage. I want the audience to be mesmerized not by your costume and your look, sorry, but mesmerized by what they are finding within themselves. Go back inside yourself, and that is the true role of art. Gharana, everything can go. That is secondary. This is it. And if even I can manage to develop 4 or 5 students like that, they will take Dakshin Gharana further, and God knows what else they will develop. Who are we to know why the beginning and end?
I think it takes an inordinate amount of humility and sensitivity to sit here and truly say that the art is more important than the performer on stage. We all say it, but to truly internalize it and to find a practice that is centered around it is, I think, so remarkable. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, because I think it's something it's something that
there is some essence in it.
Everybody knows.
Like not only performing art, is something, the secret of life where you can reach out to everybody.
Absolutely. Art is one way of doing that. It is one platform. It's a canvas. At Devanya, the canvas is Kathak. It's not the necessity of everyone should have the technique, the focus on the technique, the focus on this level to that level to what level? What level in an endless ocean? What boundaries will you make? Why won't you just break the boundaries? Where everyone can learn and everyone can enjoy those moments of art.
Thank you. So I'm going to once again go. She does so many things, right? So there's another thing that she does, which is completely unconnected from dance, but I'm sure it does have its connections, which is her experience as the author of a cookbook. Food is very important, and I think not just in a superficial way, but there's a mindfulness to it, right? What you cook, what you eat, what you hear, what you read, what you make, what you perform, what you put out there. So I think it's quite deep and mindful that way, which is why I wanted to particularly end with this.
Okay.
So could we talk a little bit about the cookbook and your experience of and why and how it came about, and a little bit about your relationship with food and mindful eating, and cooking.
Mindful eating is not.
No, but by mindful I mean, with love and with thoughts.
No, they're laughing at me.
That is the data.
Actually, you know what? As I said earlier, everything connects. The dots connect. You don't even realize the dots are connecting. If you let it be, you just float through them. And I think that's what happened. What happened, I met Pratibha. She's a school friend. We are school friends, Prabodh's sister. And we got to realize that we both like cookery, writing. She loves to edit. Correct or something like that. It started like that. And then we started going to Bangalore because my aunt-in-law was in Bangalore and my mother-in-law told me that if you really want to learn this family's cooking, then you should go to her and learn from her. And that's how we started going there. And when we started going there, the love just flowed between Pratibha, Pedatta, the aunt, me, and finally Srivats, who was the photographer, Prabhu, who designed it, the book. And it just, everything just kept growing. And I realized at one point that that is also Dakshin Gharana in a way. Why? She's a Marwadi, I'm a Gujarati by birth. Here we were writing a book on Andhra cuisine. How? We had to learn it, we had to study it, we had to blend into it, we had to put ourselves into it. Our home food was becoming that. Everyone had to taste it. No way they can't taste it. In the beginning, Pedatta said, this feels a little like Gujarati food. So we had to blend, we had to learn. And that process probably even helped with the Dakshin Gharana in Kathak. Because that was the time when I was going through that feeling of, I don't know enough to teach and I'm reaching a block and I can't be doing this, I need more. And that's when she helped me meet Maya Didi. We were anyway going to Bangalore. And she said, so what if you get rejected? And through Maya Didi's daughter Madhu only I met Srivats also. You see the connection, the dots, how they can, each of our lives are like that. We don't know what connects where. So bless and thank everything that comes and doesn't come. We never know. The things that are worst, we feel like, oh God, why did this happen to me? Oh no, thank you, what did happen to me? Wow. Because I don't know tomorrow what is going to come. He knows the blueprint. We don't know. We can see now, here. We cannot see everything of our life. So, in that sense, yeah, that's how the cookery book happened. My love for food is because I love to feed. I love feeding my family. I love cooking for my family. I used to love it. Now I've become lazy because they're all not here. But basically, I used to love doing that. So did my partner like it. And so that became the common ground in which we were working. And the cookbook, when it came out and got the best vegetarian book in the world award at Vermont, we realized that our hard work and our intensity and our absolute honesty with the work that we were doing at that point helped. And that, I think, that spirit flowed into Devaniya finally. So, thank you, cookbook. I don't know why I wrote a cookbook. Somebody asked me, you're a dancer, why the hell are you wasting your time with a cookbook?
Dancers love food.
Dancers love food. Ayurvedic. Then we have the second book with the Ayurvedic insights, the book of Ayurvedic insights. That also did very well. Second, health and nutrition book in the world. We got the second best health and nutrition book. That's in fact more my favorite book because it really gives a lot of nice information about our health, our bodies, our prakriti. Nice Ayurvedic insights. We studied for 3 years over it. She did the studying, I just did the fighting.
You said a third in the works?
No. We decided we can't handle each other for more. So she's gone her path and I've gone mine, and we just decided to be great friends for the rest of our lives.
That was lovely. We also had a few, Aditi, do we have time for a few questions? Yeah, we had a few questions that had come in. I think a lot of it was covered in the course of the conversation, but there is one which seems to be repeating, which is how do you manage to do all this and juggle everything, successfully and with fulfillment? I think from what you have said, I think more than success, I think with honesty and fulfillment is more important.
Yes.
So how do you manage to do that? How do you prioritize? Because that is something that as a young mother of a 4-year-old and a dance practitioner, it already feels like it's 3 things too many. So how do you?
I don't know what success, but as you rightly said, I'm very fulfilled. So even if something
I think that is success.
yeah, maybe. So even if something that I want doesn't happen, as I said, I'm very grateful for it. I'm okay. I'm fine. As my daughter tells me, Mom, you have so much talent but no ambition. And here I have so much ambition. I have to work so much for my talent. She's being humble, but The point is that I don't have agenda. I really have no agenda, and I would tell you, youngsters, especially my age, my generation, at least had some ease in life. You girls, you guys have no ease. Your days are like 24 hours are just not enough in your lives. So don't have agendas so much that I have to do this. I have to. Don't live up to any Joneses here, please. Just live up to yourself. Can your mind follow you, and can you follow your mind? Enough, more than enough. Believe me, everyone will follow you. And if you can't do out of the 10 things you want to do, and you can't do 2 or 3 or 5 also, so what? So what? Answer no, so what? Can you answer me? If you don't get 98%, so what?
We need to go home and have a long think about that.
Really, this has become conditioning in our mind. So stress has become a condition of our lives. Why stress? Why? We have this much life. We have so many things to do, to see, to be, to enjoy. Come to class. What do I tell you all in class? Those who are few are here, my students. What do I say? Enjoy this hour and go. Enjoy, but enjoy responsibly.
Yes.
Enjoy doesn't mean anything we do. No way, no way. You know how I shout also. But you have to enjoy responsibly. How will you do enjoyment responsibly? By being very true to yourself. I want this, not because of so and so, so and so. I want to show to so and so, so and so.
I want this for myself.
I want for myself also. If it comes, okay, lovely. If it doesn't come, who am I to want or not want? Who am I to want or not want? Really, who are you to want or not want? Let us just enjoy what we have. We see all that we don't have. We don't focus on what we have. That's a huge, and I'm not talking philosophy here, I'm talking me. I was exactly like this. I went through the whole stress phase and I went through all of that, and one day I went, what am I doing it for? For whom? Finally, if I'm not there to enjoy it, what's the point?
Yes.
So let me be and enjoy. Like like my guru always says, the aeroplane, when that thing comes down, that oxygen mask, what do they say? First mask put on yourself, then you put for the next. If you're not happy, what happiness will you 21? If you're not fulfilled, how will you make somebody else feel fulfilled? Then you're a fake. Then you're just speaking. No need. Because you don't want to go back to your bathroom and your bed and then feel sick about yourself. You just want to be very happy. So that's how we are meant to be.
Thank you.
Demonstration of your something. Wait, here's where your students will be.
Could you?
Not here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
like the
poets. It's also a bit.
Poetry
Yeah,
is-
it's also a bit. I think.
Instead of that, I have a question for you.
Yeah, we'll open the floor. To
1 minute,
questions.
1 minute. Ma'am, instead of having a demonstration here, which will be very appreciable, we are having shows coming up, and in November we have this huge show.
Yes,
I'll
we
keep you informed, and do come and do
Sure.
enjoy the show. And if you don't enjoy it, tell us so we make you enjoy it next time. So
Yeah, I like-
we will very happily perform.
In addition to that, I'd like to come to your school where you're teaching one day.
Please come.
Because
Always
I want to
welcome.
feel that oneness.
Please come. Come and learn also.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yes, seriously.
There's no
Seriously.
age bar for
Do
learning.
you agree with me, Mrs. Lakshmi? Yeah. Is there age bar? That's Mrs. Lakshmi. She's my student. She blesses me.
So beautiful.
Yes, I'm sure.
Vidya.
Please look.
How beautiful. We have a great time.
I can imagine.
What is the competition for? Whom are we competing against? Really, today's world, you youngsters don't compete, yeah.
Thank you.
Just compete with yourself. To get performance, perform for not yourself. Meaning, for yourself, yes, but keep that audience in mind. The person who has no knowledge of art should enjoy and go back.
Absolutely.
Not only the one who knows. Don't keep, you're learning. You have to study your art. You have to know the numbers. You have to know everything for you. Not to show off to somebody on stage. No need. Use that to make that whole audience reverberate with you. And each one at their own plane.
All the Kalakshetra trained gurus who trained under Rukmini Devi, including my own guru, so what they say, Atta Solluva, Gudika Mudiyonu Korangu Mari Gudika Kudadu, Aramandi Lokana, Edathla Aramandi Lokana. It's a bit untranslatable, but
Yeah.
it roughly translates to just because you can jump and leap, you don't need to be a monkey. When you're playing a monkey, be a monkey. But when you are being a dancer and doing an adavu, sit in Aramandi and do the adavu. And that's exactly what my guru has, that's what they've been trying to tell us from when we were like 4 years old. But we're still fighting with this tendency to not show off. Hopefully we will get there sometime in the future.
It's a natural and human. And there's nothing to laugh at. Because we've all done it. And it's part of our growing process. All I'm saying is, be aware of what you're doing so that you can transcend that also. And enjoy your art better. You wanted to ask something, Sheila?
Yes. Yeah.
You told that.
Do you want a mic?
No, that's okay. I think she can hear.
Yeah, because everybody else.
Jigyasa, it was very nice hearing about you. You told you already blending some of the Tamil verses to Kathak, keeping the essence of Kathak. What was the real challenge for you to do that? Can you just elaborate a little bit more?
Lightly, I'll elaborate.
Yeah.
Tabla versus Mridangam is a huge difference. Okay, their gamakas are different, their style of, their intonations are different. How do you work Kathak? The Kathak is so subtle. Okay. Then the language, where Kathak's language is of subtlety. So the language of Urdu, the language of Hindi, the language of that kind of poetry, those kind of moods. Even in divinity, there's a different mood as compared to Tamil or Telugu. So if you're doing Jagadananda Karaka, and with Mridangam and violin in Carnatic bass, definitely it's a huge challenge. But the whole idea is that to face the challenge and to enjoy it. And it was a very good process. I have students who have learned Carnatic music, who learned Bharatanatyam, who are Bharatanatyam teachers also in the Shankaris here. So taking their help in breaking up the components helped a lot. So we would break up the components, one would tell me the meaning, then I would study that particular aspect of that song in my own reading processes. Then I would break up the component of the musical instruments and the language. Because when you're saying something in a different language from what the language of the form is, definitely the mood, the eye expression, everything changes. Automatically you will blend to that. Then you will lose focus with the Kathak, which is the origin of your endeavor. So that merging of the two was one of the greatest challenges, but I think we have somehow managed to do that very well. And coming back to your one question about costumes.
Yes, we wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. We worked very hard on costumes, but that's because I love doing it. I sometimes run away from class, I leave it to the teachers and say, oh, you take the class, I have to go for costume work. Actually, I just love doing the costume. That is another side to creativity. And Kathak is Kathak is like, it gives you so much freedom. There's so much of lucidity and freedom in Kathak that it can be misused very easily. But if you're careful and if you're responsible to the art, then it gives you the freedom of experimenting with costume, with language, as Srivat's asked. Our latest venture, I'll break the news to you, is that we are working with Nadaswaram.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
This time, knowingly. See, Jagadananda Karaka was already there, Balamuri Krishna says. Someone approached us, you have to do Pancharatna Kirtana, your Kirtana, yours is Jagadananda Karaka. Seri, okay, we'll do it. We did. That is different.
But this is the conscious.
This consciously, using Kanjira, trying Gatta, but it became an overkill, so I'm saying, okay, we'll see. But Nadaswaram we are using definitely, along with Sitar and Tabla. So let us see how it turns out. Please come and watch us someday. And and it's a Tamil song. So, Kathak dancers.
Wow.
Let's hope it turns out well. I know it will. I just know it will.
We're very excited.
Not out of arrogance, huh?
No, it's when you put your heart and soul into it.
Divinity flows.
And I think the point that you
Costume.
made earlier about how the bodies are different,
Yeah,
if you look at
bodies
bodies and the whole pulse of the city is different.
Yeah.
And so when you spoke about finding a space between the form and the content, in this case the Tamil verse or the indigenous South Indian instruments and all of that, I think it keeps going back to what you said about inclusivity and working with what is here.
Yes, work with what is. Then just work with whatever you have. It is going to. It will turn out well. That is the whole stress that the Dakshin Gharana is making. Okay. Costumes we work from getting understanding traditional how to stitch. Who will stitch over here?
Oh yes, that's true.
Very difficult. Then again, a friend of ours only from school, Sunanda Jain.
Wow.
She's a Jain and she loves her costuming work now, but she was not a costumer. She was doing tailoring. But Pratibha introduced me to her. We went shopping for our first show 10 years ago. We made nice costumes then also. But over the years, I have become bolder with it. She has become bolder with it, and she really thinks costumes a lot now. And she's also completing 10 years with us as our costumer, which is wonderful. And my tableist who was with me when I started Kathak, 16 years old, now I'm 55. He still plays the tabla for us at Devaniya. So wow.
That truly is a family.
And he is a Telugu. He is not from North India somewhere. He is from Andhra Pradesh. So
That truly is family.
it's family. So.
I have a question. So Devanya mostly does group programs, isn't it? So it is. I think that perhaps every artist, especially a dancer, likes to perform. They feel fulfilled if they do solos. Is that true of artists? Is it something that they cherish to have the stage to themselves and perform alone? And do you do solos also? So that was my question.
Nice question.
Yes.
Solo is not something I much work with because I believe in oneness. I believe in all coming together as one. So for me, as a choreographer and even as a teacher, I like group. I like working with groups. It's very interesting to see so many differences coming together as one. It's very beautiful. The challenge is lovely. Even when it falls flat on your face, it's something it teaches you, so that's nice. But having said that, yes, some do better than others and they deserve that platform of solo performances, which now in our 10th year, we are beginning to work towards. Definitely. But it took this long for me also to get the process in place and get the entire methodology, get the group work, get myself comfortable, and then move on into solo. This year onwards, definitely we are working on solo performances. It is important for an artist too. Definitely.
To know what to do by yourself on
Definitely,
stage is quite
definitely.
daunting.
You to have the comfort of group also. Group is comfortable because I can hide behind this, I can hide behind that. But group is also very difficult because you have to coordinate and you have to have the energy. Your emanating energy should be equal. If energy is dropped from one side to the other, you will disappear. The whole group will fall flat. Then you don't have a chance to resurrect because the same group is going to do again. Well, the audience will say, "You pull on me."
So the dynamics.
Is that the dynamics change? Solo artist has to handle the whole stage and the whole audience by himself or herself. So both have their challenges. Both are very beautiful. Personally, I love working with groups. I'm like a gardener in a rose garden. I just love it. But that one particular rose that needs more grooming, definitely now we are working towards that.
Wonderful. Any more questions? I think we have time for one or two other things.
Can I have one?
One question?
Sorry.
Push
So, usually students try to seek the source, the original, and therefore when they come to you and you have sort of defined the Kathak as Dakshina Kathak, how do you reconcile the quest for this original, and do they really know that they are learning something else which is slightly different in flavor? Because this is the only Gharana probably that is not named after a city. Everything else is just Banaras or Raigad or yeah. So
Region.
Yeah, this is named after region.
yeah, that's it.
It's almost like a gift to my beloved South. I love South India because I've been born and brought up here. For me, I'm part of this place as much as I am of my original source. But the origin of Kathak, where it is, what it is, we do teach that. It's not that we don't teach it. But we have a different style of teaching it. And that style of teaching it, and therefore its nuances that come out of that, is what the Dakshin Gharana is. And having been founded in South India, it is the Dakshin Gharana because it is here that it was founded, this dance school. It is here that it is honing
The
and
regional
evolving
identity.
skills of so many others. It's almost like a regional identity, and it's also that it is so easy to blend that it has blended into this place, and it is like gifting ourselves this place and gifting this place ourselves. You know, it's like that. So I don't think there is a discrepancy or a difference in that sense in the teaching, in the learning of the dance form. You will learn a few nuances differently, which will help you to be able to go out there and join the ocean of the art form itself.
No, but when you create Gharana, which is what you've done.
I've not created a gharana. No one can create
Dakshin
anything.
Gharana.
We have only called ourselves, we have registered and certified ourselves as the founder school of a new grain of Kathak, which is the Dakshin Gharana of Kathak.
Which was founded by you, isn't it?
Yes, but so if I may,
Yeah, but that gives you a blank canvas to decide
no, it's not a
what
blank
is
canvas.
what is the
That time will tell. That time will tell.
That's great.
In that time will tell how it's going to go forward. You know, somebody will start something off. How it will be taken forward, who knows? We don't know. There is no agenda. There is absolutely no agenda. It is a style that we have been teaching, and the way of teaching that style is the Dakshin Gharana of Kathak.
So I think to
I hope I've answered you.
no, I think to clarify what you are saying a little bit more. Every classical performing tradition has banis or styles or gharanas. In Bharatanatyam we call it banis. What happens is it's all Kathak, it's all Bharatanatyam, it's all Kuchipudi, but there are distinct characteristics. For example, I come from a certain bani, and my sister belongs to an entirely different bani of Bharatanatyam. When we both perform together, it's distinctly different, but it's the same style, it's the same adavus, it's the same.
Moments are the same.
Yeah, it's
Moments are
just
all the same.
the little flourishes, the
Distinguishing characteristics.
yeah, the dissemination process. That's the difference. So it's not a blank slate. It's
Yeah,
not
you can't.
something.
That's a
yeah,
highly responsible thing to do.
exactly.
Then you can't call it Kathak.
Absolutely. So there is absolute adherence to form, but the way the form is interpreted and presented is ever so slightly different. And to an untrained eye, it will probably all look the same. You know, they may be
It
two
will
or three
give
things.
you a
Yeah.
different flavor when you go back and take it.
Yeah.
But you won't know what to point on. That's why I said that most of things are intangible. It's more intangibles than tangibles. But definitely the form is Kathak. How would I do it if I stood high atop a mountain and said, now you come to me? No, I can't. I have to go there. So that's what happened. The river flowed in. And beautifully the land accepted. So it was a beautiful merger.
Wow.
Simple. How is the reception beyond that trip?
For us, we performed
Oh, your Gharana.
of our Gharana. We have just hardly been speaking about it, so I don't know about that. But we have performed in Delhi. It was very beautifully accepted. I performed myself in Italy once a little bit, and that was very nice years ago. Nowhere have we received flack so far. And that's also good enough, it's okay. We have. What am I saying? 2000
Let's forget that.
I received so much flack, like I was like, ooh. But then that was also okay. It was nice.
But what you made of it after,
Yeah. If I had sat back and said, okay, I can't teach, I can't do anything, I'm a failure, then finished. There would be no Devya, there would be nothing. But that was also fun. You were there that time, Aditi? Manasvi was there, I remember. Yeah, it was huge flag. This doesn't look like a Kathak and da. This somewhere
Very early on.
very early days. Today I will even agree. You know, because I was raw. I was a baby taking my first steps as a teacher. You know, so yeah, I made mistakes. Sure, I accept.
No, every time you innovate, you will receive flack.
Yeah, innovation will receive flag. Why not? It should.
resistance. Yes,
It should.
resistance, right?
Resistance is a good thing, then you know how strong you are. That elasticity will tell you whether you will break or you will stretch.
Absolutely.
That's very nice, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Did you create any mudras, new mudras? Create.
We didn't
Like
create
in Chennai.
we didn't create any new mudras as such. As I said, the actual form of the dance is very much intact. So there are no new mudras formed. But we work a lot using more than just, like Kathak uses Pataka, Arala, Katakamukha to some extent. Alapadmam, all that we don't use much. Mayur,
It's there
we
in
use.
the-
It's there. Because it's an oral tradition rather than following the book by the book. Definitely, very few of these mudras are actually put into use, except when depicting something of specific quality like Shiva, then you have to show all the mudras. But we do try in Devanir to use more mudras from the Nati Shastra than less. So in that sense, yes. But we have never created new mudras. No. I don't intend to also.
Yeah.
Why should I?
There's a big pantheon.
There's so much to gather from. No, we don't create things. They're there in the universe already.
Thank you. So I think, so I think we're, I think pretty much all the questions we came in with have been answered. Thank you so much. It was such a privilege being here.
This is one I had written for my students actually. We look for role models in life. Okay, we very often look for role models in life, but actually there are no such thing. You have to be your own role model. If I look for role model, for which role am I looking? As a mother, as a dancer, as a teacher, as a beautiful woman, as a slim woman, as a weight put on woman, as a sari clad woman. What role am I looking for? You will never find all of it in one person. As a writer, you will be someone else. So why can't you be your own role model? The entire universe is there for you. We give thanks to every ant and elephant that's in your life. Okay? And so everyone is my role model. My cook, she's really my role model. You know for what? Because she takes all my shouting with such a sweet smile. I'm telling her, "Itna late aaya tumhara." So she's saying, "Haan, I'm like, what more can I score this line? Equality, I don't have it. She's my role model for that. Okay? But then there are some people who do look up to me. Okay? As a role model. I'm saying don't do that. Because sometimes you're putting pressure even on the person on whom you are making a role model. Why? Sometimes you will say, I love what she does, she's my role model, and then you'll notice or hear something about her that doesn't suit your role structure. And then you'll like, then you'll be in depression and she'll be down in your. What's the point? So based on that, I wrote a poem. Ria, who is a very good speaker and orator and all that, she will read out the poem, because if I sit to read my poem, then finally I will see the yawns.
Look up to me, not as a star, that will guide you with its haloed light. For then I fear I may drop sometime, and darken the image imprinted in your sight. Hold me close to your heart instead, and sprinkle your love light on my soul. Together, let us soar through galaxies of fate, and shatter the illusion of existential space. Bow not to me in reverence of that which you may see in me, for then I fear I may step on your faith when treading paths unthinkable to your heart. Hold my hands in yours instead, and walk beside me, no matter what. Together, let us journey through lands unseen, and discover new strengths at each hurdle we cross. Judge me not for better or for worse. Love me for love's sake, no more and no less, for I am as much as you are, a sapling of his boundless love, in the timeless maze of an unknown path.
Okay, thank you for that very inspiring morning.
Thank you for calling me.
There's a lot that even was very new to me as well, even though I've had the good luck of being with you for so long. So, of course, this event is an event by Marjorie.org, and we'd like to thank Sarangi for the space and for being our lead sponsor.
Very enticing space.
Yes.
And and thank you to Aravi.
Thank you.
And of course, Jigyasa. And beyond the event, of course, we'd like to thank Supraja and Richard, who will keep this event live through our photos and videos. Of course, and Srivat's uncle, who was our last minute surprise. Thank you all for coming. We really enjoyed having all of the questions. And hopefully, we are planning to do this every month. So hopefully, we'll see all of you again every month.
Yes.
Thank you.